So now if we fast forward, you are playing in your original bands and your cover bands. Which takes a priority for you? Like, is there one that, do you want to do a bigger push on the originals, or does it really make a difference as long as you're playing music?
Yeah, I think it's about flow. I don't think it really makes a difference. I mean, the only thing I can say is that when I have some friends that went to school and that for them to be a professional in the musical industry is to accompany songwriters and artists. They don't write songs themselves, but they always play with artists that write their own songs, and they'll go on tour. They make an amazing living, even a better living that I am making, you know? So for them,
They don't write their own songs.
they don't write their own songs. And so sometimes the subject that will come up is I got to start writing songs because I'm accompanying and I'm playing with all those amazing artists, but at the end of the line, what will I be remembered for music-wise? What do I leave? What musical heritage do I leave behind?
You've had a few different record deals from different record companies. Yeah. What was the first record deal? Was it with Heaven's Cry?
Yeah. That was in 95, and we released the album in 96. Our first album titled Food for Thought Substitute. Canadian company would go and scout, then present bands to Taichiku Records, and they'd be the one financing, you know, giving the check and goes, yes, we love that. Let's finance this first album. And they took a chance on Heaven's Cry.
So you guys were like a Japanese import-export.
Yeah, I wish we would have gone there and play in Japan, man. That's still one of my dreams. That's a bucket list. I hope one day to go to Japan and play.
So you're basically signed to a Japanese label, but you hadn't actually gone to Japan to play.
No, unfortunately.
And so how did that label support? Was it financed to record a record or for touring?
To finance the recording and the producing of that album. To have that product finished out, you know, for marketing and distributing. And so there was a momentum. But then, you know, the horror story that you hear so many times in the industry, that Canadian label wasn't supporting us, let's just say that. And eventually, you know, the house of cards just fell on its own. And I could say that personally, that was one of the darkest moments in my life where you think that there's a moment you're on the brink of, you know, going
almost famous.
Wow.
Almost famous.
Or almost making it and saying that manufacturer job I can actually put aside and concentrate, do what I love 100%. And that didn't happen. So I think that my mindset changed then. I had to go through that dark period and figure out what was important for me. Was being famous important for me, or was being able to express myself and do what I love in life, which is music, and make a living? So then the latter for me, or I mean, that second option for me was more important, and that's when I started to diversify myself.
Oh yeah, you had played with so many bands coming through there. At one point, you were like super passionate about playing the stick. Chapman Chapman stick, and then all of a sudden you're playing in all of these bands, playing now the stick, and you were playing with African bands, you were playing with pop bands, you were really open to really diversifying yourself as a musician, to not limit yourself.
Whatever style it is, doesn't really matter for me. I'm still gonna get into it because music is universal and transcends, like I said. So for me, it's the passion. And music is also about connecting with people. Yep. You know, how many times have you got, hey, if you listen to that, or movies or art, you know? Bottom line is we all want to connect. And music and arts allows us to connect with other people without talking about where we come from geographically or what our personal differences are. You know, it's kind of a way to bypass all of that and just talk about a common subject that we can agree and on, you know.
Absolutely.
Was there a moment where you were doubting yourself and am I going to be able to make this dream sustainable and a reality?
One of the very important persons that I met in my life is when I met Pierre Saint-Jean, who is the other co-founder of Heaven's Cry, you know. That's when it really clicked for me. That's when I really saw the possibilities of actually, you know, making an album that I could be proud of and maybe making it. Mm-hmm. And that's when we, you know, then, you know, everything falls into place because you got two minds together that are super passionate about music and making this for a living and making it their priority in life. And then, so combining, you know, our energies and our strengths together gave me and gave us the opportunity to actually have our first record deal.
Was he or did you have anyone through this process that you considered a mentor to you? Someone that kind of, you know, paved the way or gave you some guidance?
Up until then, I think I considered him as a mentor because he was older than me. He's like 2 years and a half older than me. And the first time we met, I was 15. He was 17 and a half.
Oh, when you're 15, the 17-year-old is like an adult.
Yep. And he was already playing in clubs. Sure. I wasn't, you know? So he said, oh, we're looking for... that mutual friend of ours heard me sing, you know, like I was just singing. I was singing all the time, you know? It's like, this is what I do, you know? It's like walking on the street, listening to Walkman or cassettes. So that mutual friend heard me sing and said, well, I am in a band and we're looking for a singer. And then he called Pierre and said, I think we might have a singer. So he brought me over to meet Pierre, but I was too young. I mean, but he said to me something which will always stay with me. He said, don't stop singing because Quebec needs amazing singers. Mm-hmm. And that stuck with me. So he was, I guess, similar to being a mentor. And then fast forward 2 years after, I'm playing in clubs. He's playing in clubs. And then we reconnect. And I'm in this band Mistress. And he's this band Whiteside. So multiple singers band. So we were...
Because Pierre was a singer also.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing singer. So that's when we started toying with the idea of having this band where there's actually two singers in the band. And so...
I think it's pretty cool that you found two people that said, no, let's do this together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a very special thing. I mean, so for me, like one of the major important moments in my life is when I met this guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shout out to Pierre Saint-Jean.
So after Heaven's Cry, you had another band that got signed to another label, and that was Carcias.
Heaven's Cry was a bit on a break, on a hiatus. Mm-hmm. We needed a break from it. It's like it's a family, right? Yeah. But at one point you just need to reinvent yourself in order to actually come back to the fold and bring back something pertinent or, you know,
pertinent. Yeah,
exactly. But that's when Carcias came to the fold. They had recently lost their bass player, but they wanted to take a new turn. And it was an instrumental band. Their first 3 albums were instrumental. And so they wanted to change direction. That's when they approached me. They actually had booked a 2-week tour in France.
I remember
and that's
that.
how we got to, and you know, Bass Ben and Albert being, you know, the generous guy that he is, we go on tour. So for 2 weeks, you know, we'll figure out the schedule. Somebody else, go on tour, go do your thing. And that's when you go on tour with a band. That's when you know if it's going to be make or break with the guys. It's going to work or it's not going to work. Can you stand these guys, being around these guys 24/7 for 2 weeks? And that's settled. So it was the beginning of a beautiful friendship with them. And so that's when we, you know, fast forward now, we just released our 3rd album, studio album together last year, which was Gray, White, Silver, Yellow, and Gold, which got us some great reviews as well. We even got mentioned. There's this guy from DPRP, which is a Dutch progressive label. One of the reviewers named us Album of the Year last year.
That's awesome.
It's getting some recognition.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big deal. Wow.
So that's love, receiving love from somebody you don't even know, giving you that giving that kind of importance for something that you've created collectively with your friends, man. This is one of the reasons why I do this. It's because if music can touch and connect people and bring people together over that piece of music, and that's amazing. We're like wolves, where we live in packs. We need to live in community. We need to talk. We need to see each other. We need to live this collective experience together.
And I mean, you see that here. Some days there are, we have all the studios filled, and people are spending more times in the hall catching up and talking than they're playing in their studios.
Everybody running into each other. Hey, what are you here for?
Hugging and high-fiving. And,
it's
community.
It's a great community.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're fortunate to have had you to be part of this community and part of the life here at Studio Basebin. Thanks for the plugs. Like I said, I will pay you later. But
it's all for love.
It's all for love. Is there was there anything else that you wanted to ask him on here?
We just want to plug that latest album. Tell everyone can they buy it? They can go on Apple.
Yes. Bandcamp.
Spotify.
Amazon.
So
record store, if there's any of them still out there.
Do you actually have physical?
Archambault, at Archambault.
You still have physical CDs that are actually distributed?
Yeah, we have the CDs out.
Right.
And the vinyl is coming out because people are buying vinyls now more than.
So why not?
Yeah.
Where are you getting your vinyls printed? I think people would
actually,
want to know.
it's Willow Tip. They're our record company that has all the connection, and they deal with it. Yeah.
So everyone, please go check it out. It came out on June 23rd. The Anchorette. It all began with loneliness. Stream, like, bye.
Thank you very much, Kayla.
Thanks, Sylvain.
Thanks, Albert.
Next time, see you right here at Basebin TV. Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Hell yeah.